So, if there are concepts in the videos that you're having trouble understanding, or my immediate advice would be to try and understand the historical aspects more than the other content that may be interspersed within these videos as well, these documentaries. Michael Wood's videos and Niall Ferguson's videos are kind of meant to work as setup pieces for giving you a broader context of historical events and how other people view history and come to understand history, because there are even different approaches and different ways of doing that. That there isn't just a fixed model as far as what people follow. So that's important to understand. Let's see. So covered exams. Let me just make sure I'm not. Oh yes. Okay. So I did want to go over the. Let me just say really quick before moving on that with regard to this assignment schedule and so on and so forth. So you can see the first week starts on the 5th of September. This material that we'll be covering and your kind of introductory bio of yourself, would be due the 11th of September. So basically over the course of the next 6 days, once the class goes live on the 5th, you would be responsible for posting a bit about yourself by that Monday, the 11th. So for week 2, when we start to talk about the European Renaissance and Reformation, and your reading of chapter 17, viewing Niall Ferguson's of Scent of Money series, episodes 1 and 2, that would be assigned on the 11th, and all that material and any related questions to it from week 1 and 2 would be due on the 18th. So hopefully that makes sense as to how to read this this graph here, this matrix. So again, with important dates to finish out the last bit of information here on the syllabus. We're meeting asynchronously. We don't really have days off, but obviously with winter break, or excuse me, with specifically Thanksgiving is what I'm thinking of. That week would require a little less work. I know that we're those last several weeks of the semester, they can get pretty hectic as far as deadlines and impending festivities and such. So I'll be definitely kind of keeping that in mind as far as workload is concerned. Another quick word about kind of the mechanics of history. So with regard specifically to centuries and timelines, your book does actually a very good job. Your textbook does an excellent job of looking at and providing timelines within the specific chapters as far as content is concerned. So that's going to be beneficial. But in lectures, in the videos and so on and so forth, you may hear people talking about the 1500s, and then later when they're talking about the 1500s, they may refer to it as the 16th century. There's a reason for that. I just wanted to kind of make sure we were all on the same page as far as that was concerned. So if you make a timeline and you put the year 0 in the center and you start to move to the right, kind of in the era of AD, the Judeo-Christian calendar that we use in Western markings of time, the first century starts in the year 1 and it goes to the year 100. So that is 100 years of time, which marks a century. And so if something happens in the first century, it is not happening in the 100s, it's happening up to 100, the year 100. The second century, therefore, starts at the year 101 and goes up to 200. Okay, so that's the reason why it always looks like the 16th century is always referring to the 1500s. To bring that up to our own day and time, we are here in the 2000s, but we are living in the 21st century, right? So, and the 21st century did not start until 2001. Okay, so that is kind of the way that you address or talk about time. You can refer to the 1500s or the 16th century. It's the same thing. Okay, and that's the reason why that is kind of like that. It's a little annoying at times. I had a little trouble with it just a moment ago myself. So it's something just to kind of keep in the back of the mind. Also, you may see on PowerPoint slides, which will correspond with the lecture material that I'm including and will be posting on Blackboard. You may see specific dates of, say, rulers or a swath of time in which an event is occurring. The most immediate example that comes to mind is Mehmed II, who is the kind of distinguished ruler of the Ottoman Empire and helped to establish its regional dominance as a power. On the slide where his name is given, Mahmud II, you'll see in parentheses a date range with the letter R preceding it. That is the time, the range in the years is the period in which he reigned as the Sultan of the Ottoman Empire. So it's not his full lifespan, but he was ruler for something like 20 or 30 years. So whenever there's an R before someone's, or usually following someone's name and then giving a range as far as years are concerned, that's the date in which that sovereign ruled. Sometimes people will give their full lifespan. Other times they'll just, like I said, provide a more specific or smaller window as to when they were recognized as the sovereign of their particular kingdom, state, empire. Sometimes there'll also be a C, the letter C, that is preceded by dates. That's going to be more common in antiquity, when the dating process of events and history is more difficult, and so that refers to circa, which means about. There's a little discrepancy as far as time is concerned. We shouldn't run into that in this course so much, because we are talking about the modern era. So we have better record keeping and can make a better, more distinct and concrete measures of time and when things occurred. So before I sign off for this segment, should mention the term modern itself. You'll in some of the descriptions for material I've already posted online, which should be popping up in the next day or so when the course becomes active. You may notice the term modern in quotation marks. I do that intentionally because you know, we think of modern as obviously the here and now, and oftentimes historians will refer to the modern era as being established from roughly the year 1500 to present. There's a reason for that, because the um, characteristics of what we perceive around us in the modern world can and do trace origins back to a series of um, policies and effects that date back to and around the year 1500. Uh, but as with kind of using labels and definitions like that, it is a bit subjective, and so if you look at something like world trade, that was most assuredly taking place, and taking place perpetually since the year 1500 up to our present day. Well, that's true, but it's not to say that world trade or regional trade between connected geographic regions wasn't taking place well before that. There's one historian I know that kind of has done extensive research on trade networks dating back to the 1200s. You have, even at the origins of history itself, with the earliest civilizations, people going from ancient Mesopotamia and having trade, conducting trade with Egypt, and people to in the Indus Valley, and so on and so forth. So trade networks have been around for a very long time, but as far as being circumnavigating the globe, that may be more of a contemporary or modern event dating back to about 1500, which coincides with the age of exploration in Western civilization in particular. Coincidence, call it what you will. Nonetheless, that's kind of the orientation that a lot of historians take in their study and their pursuits. So it gives us a way to kind of address time and segments of time, so that audiences, students, people reading histories don't get overwhelmed with the immensity of recorded time itself. So just kind of something to keep in mind as you kind of exercise that critical thinking for yourself. So having said all that, as I see it, we're pretty much coming to the end of the scope of going over the syllabus in greater detail, and my wanting to address some specific kind of key issues as we launch the course here. Again, if you have any questions, issues, concerns, I'm here and available, so please do feel free and hopefully comfortable to reach out to me, and look forward to hearing from you, and learning a little bit more about what interests you, and having a productive semester here in the study of modern world history. Until next time, I will see you in the next video.